Praise the Lord and good evening, good evening, good evening. I am excited that you all have taken time out of your busy schedules to join me on tonight. I need you, if you will, help me to go ahead and evangelize, meaning I need you to tag, I need you to share, I need you to tell your people to jump on. There is a word from the Lord on tonight. I am excited, as always, about the word of the Lord. I'm excited about what he's going to download on tonight. And as I have been saying all week, if you have not made plans to be with us on this Sunday night, I keep wanting to say Friday, but on this Sunday night, I need you to make plans to be with us. Listen, there is a word from the Lord, of course, moving us over into 2024, but there is also a celebration, a high time in the Lord. Guess why? Because you made it. You made it through 2023, and we're going to celebrate all the things that the Lord has done. Not only the things that he has done, but also the things that he is getting ready to do. I am excited about the year 2024. I am excited about all that he has already shown me that he is going to do. But if you have not already, I need you to go ahead and tag. I need you to go ahead and share. Good evening to my friends over on YouTube. I see you. God bless you. Listen, I'm so excited about this word on tonight. We are in I think this is day 3. Yeah, day 3. Of talking about possessing the land, this year's New Year's Eve service. God gave me the title cross over and possess everything that I have promised you. This is the year that you shall grab a hold to everything that I have promised you. And we learned even on last night, some of those things that God promised our grandfathers and grandmothers and our ancestors, and they went on to be with the Lord, and they did not receive those promises. He says that you can still get that. It's still available to you. So I'm getting everything in 2024 that God has for me. And I said to God, even some of that stuff that my daddy didn't possess, that my grandmothers and my grandfathers didn't possess, I want my Can y'all just drop that in the chat? I want my inheritance. I want my inheritance. So we're going to talk about that even tonight. We talked about the children of Israel, how Joshua asked them. We started out on Monday. No, not Monday. Whatever day the first day was. I think it was Wednesday. Wednesday we started out and we talked about Joshua asking the children of Israel. There were 7 tribes still left. And he asked them, why are you still here? What are you waiting for? Why have you not went and possessed your possession? Joshua's like, what's going on here? Because listen, all of them, you got to remember that all of them that started out together, a lot of them died. They didn't even make it over to the... God promised, this is what I just said, I want my inheritance. God promised it to all of them. Everybody didn't cross over. So some of those grandparents and all that, they didn't even cross over because remember, they wandered for 40 years. Woo! They wandered for 40 years, but that promise was theirs, but they didn't make it. So now I want my inheritance. Joshua asking this lineage that's left, why are you still sitting here? And what we are learning, they were still sitting there because of the obstacles that they faced in the past. My God. The obstacles, and I'm going to jump right in tonight. The obstacles that they faced from the past. It was. We know fear was a major obstacle for them. They were fearful people. And God had to keep getting on them about their fear. This started with, remember, now, okay, y'all know the Bible. Y'all know your history. This whole thing started out with Moses. Remember Moses, Pharaoh, let my people go. God said, let his people go. These are those people. It started out with Moses. Moses didn't even get to cross over. I could work that all day. Their leader did not cross over. Joshua is the one that crossed over with them. So after Moses died, Joshua took up the reign as the leader. Okay. This is going to be good tonight. But one of their major issues in them not being able to cross over, one of their major issues with them not being able to cross over was fear. Fear was number 1. Lack of faith was number 2. Watch this. And then last night we learned that last night we learned they didn't even want the presence of God. They said, God said, I want to talk to y'all. I want to sit with you. I got something to tell you. They said, no. We don't want to hear that. You talk to Moses. Don't talk to us. Whoo, Lord. They rejected God. So do you hear all these? Why are you talking about that, Dr. 3? Because what the Lord is doing on this week is preparing you to cross over into 2024. And he's saying, I promise you some stuff. You got to go get it. Why don't you have it yet? Could it be fear? Could it be, listen, could it be fear has kept you stagnant? Could it be lack of faith has kept you stagnant? Could it be that you have rejected the presence of God in your life? Whoo, Lord have mercy. We're going to look at some other things tonight. We're going to look at some other obstacles they face tonight. Watch this. Numbers 21. Numbers 21 verses 1 through 9. When the Canaanite king of Arad, who lived in the Negev, heard that Israel was coming along the road, he attacked the Israelites. Listen, he attacked them and captured some of them. Then Israel made this vow to the Lord. If you, God, listen to this. Israel said, if you will deliver these people into our hand, we will totally destroy their cities. The Lord listened to Israel out of all the mess they had, out of all the stuff they done. Now they got in trouble. And the Lord listened to them. Listen to this. Remember last night we learned they didn't even want to be in his presence. Oh, God, I love you. They didn't even want to be in his presence. But now they saying, wait a minute. We learned from the past. We in trouble. We know now who to call on. Who, God? So now they said, we know to call on God. So it says here, they called on the Lord and they said, if you would deliver our enemy into our hand, we will utterly destroy them. Listen to this. They said, we will utterly destroy them. We will destroy their cities. In verse 3 says, the Lord listened to Israel's plea and gave the Canaanites over to them. They completely destroyed them and their towns. So the place was named Horem. Watch this. So then they traveled along the route to the Red Sea. Listen to this. To go around Edom. Now listen. God just gave them what they asked for. Oh, God, I love you. He just gave them what they asked for. These people, these Canaanites were like taking over. They were beating them, taking some of them captive. They were destroying them. And they prayed to God and God answered. Watch this. Now, here we go. Verse 4. They traveled from where they were along the route to the Red Sea to go around Edom. Here we go. But the people grew impatient again on the way. They spoke against God and Moses. Oh, Lord, listen. They spoke against God and Moses. This is what they said. Why have you brought us up out of Egypt to die out here in this wilderness? There is no bread. There is no water. And we detest this food you keep giving. Do y'all hear? I'm going to say it one more time. They spoke after God gave them what they asked him for. After God saved them from being destroyed. After God gave them their enemy right in their hand. Watch what they did. They started complaining. They started complaining. They spoke against God and Moses. And they said, why did you bring us out of Egypt to die in this wilderness? Listen to what they're saying, though. There is no bread. Listen, there is no bread. There is no water. And we detest this miserable food. Whoo, Lord Jesus. Watch this. Y'all do know he was feeding them with manna. And he was sending quail down from heaven. Y'all do know that they could strike a rock and water would appear. But they saying, we detest this food that you're giving us. We don't even want the water that you're getting out the rock. We don't want that either. Lord, listen. The God just delivered them. He just gave you the enemy right in your hand. And you got tired of the way you was going and you started complaining. And you put your mouth on God and his servant. Okay. You put your mouth on God and his servant. Watch what God did. He said, all right, bet. Well, he didn't say all right, bet, but y'all know. He said, watch this. It says verse 6. I'm going to bag up because I don't want y'all to forget this. Verse 5. They spoke against God and against Moses. And they said, why did you bring us up out of Egypt to die in this wilderness? Why did you get us out of bondage? Okay, listen, I know. It says, there is no bread, there is no water, and we detest this miserable food. Verse 6. Then the Lord sent venomous snakes. You got to be careful. That you don't forget. I keep telling people, I say, God, I said, y'all need to read the God of the Old Testament. Because y'all be playing like he won't do nothing to you. Listen, it says, listen, this is the Bible. I am not making this up. It says, we are in verse 6. The Lord sent venomous snakes among them. They bit the people and many of them died. Verse 7. The people came to Moses and said, we sinned, we sorry. Do y'all hear this? We sinned. We're sorry. We spoke against the Lord and against you. Pray to the Lord. Pray that the Lord will take the snakes away from us. So Moses prayed for the people. Do y'all hear this? Verse 8. The Lord said to Moses, make a snake and put it up on a pole. Anyone who is bitten can look at it and live. Listen to this. Listen to how gracious God is. After you told me you didn't appreciate nothing I was doing for you. I am the very breath that you breathe. With one swipe, I can take y'all out. But y'all complaining about how I'm feeding. Whoa. Okay, Holy Spirit. Y'all complaining about how I'm feeding you. You're complaining about what I'm giving you to drink. You're ungrateful. So I'm going to send some snakes then. I'm going to teach you not to play with me. I'm going to teach you not to put your... So what they started reaping, okay. What they started reaping is what they sowed. Watch this. And not only did God get angry, watch this. That somebody already put it in the chat. Who was it? Cherie already put it in here. Keep your mouth off God's people. Keep your mouth off God's servant. Moses was his mouthpiece. And you spoke against my mouthpiece? The one that I chose? The one that I called? Okay, I got you. So I'm going to send a bunch of snakes. Venomous snakes. Meaning every snake that you see can kill you. Ain't no escaping. So now they come to Moses. Can you please pray and tell God to take the snakes away? Moses pray and God takes the snakes away. But God said, okay, I'm going to take the snakes away, but I'm going to create a pole. Listen, I'm going to create a pole. This is, where's it at? This is verse 8. The Lord said to Moses, make a snake and put it up on a pole. Anyone who is bitten, this is going to bless y'all later. Anyone who is bitten can look at it and live. So Moses made a bronze, this is important, watch this. Moses made a bronze snake and he put it up on a pole. Then when anyone was bitten by a snake and looked at the bronze snake on the pole, they lived. Watch this. Now, God has given them an antidote. Y'all put your mouth on me and my servant. So I sent these snakes. But because y'all felt y'all were a little bit sorry, I gave y'all an antidote that you can look at this pole and you won't die. Watch this. Everybody, watch this, because he didn't get rid of the, watch this. He didn't get rid of the snakes. He said, if you look at that pole with the snake on it, you won't die when you get bit. But do you know that some people didn't do that because they said that's foolish. Snakes are evil. Well, I'm going to break it down in a minute. Snakes are evil. I'm not looking at no pole. So they died. I would take the foolish things of this world to confound the wise. He said, I'm going to put a snake up on a pole. And I'm just going to give them one thing. If they look at it, they'll live. Let's see if they can do that. Someone said, no, I ain't doing that. So they just died. Okay. Another story. Remember Nahum? Remember Nahum? When he had leprosy? And the prophet told Elisha, Elisha said, go dip in that dirty river 7 times and your leprosy gonna be, you'll be healed of leprosy. I ain't dipping in no dirty water. All these rivers, do he know who I am? His servant girl said, I don't know, but if the prophet said go dip in that dirty water, you might want to go dip in that dirty water. I mean, what difference is it gonna make? See, it's, oh God, here, okay, let me calm down. Sometimes God will give you something that sounds so foolish just to see if you're going to do it. That foolish thing could actually have your healing. And I was thinking about this when I was studying this earlier, and I was like, how many times have I told people some stuff that just sounds so simple? Some stuff that just sound like, oh, okay, anoint your feet. Why? Just do what I'm telling you. I need you to anoint your feet. Every night, I'm going to give you this oil. Every night, I want you to just anoint your feet. Okay. And I said, but listen to what I say. Don't listen to me as the person that you know, Elizabeth, Peaches, Dr. 3, Mr. Whatever you know me. I said, not that. I said, listen to the prophet in me. Anoint your feet every night. Then they like, huh. And they go do it. And then all of a sudden, I keep walking into open doors. You think? You think? All of a sudden, it's like everywhere I go, I'm getting blessed. I know. Because sometimes God will take something that's so simple just to see if you gon' obey it. He told Moses, put the snake up on a pole. When they look at it, I'ma heal them. Do you know it was people that did refuse? I'm not looking at that. Snakes are evil. But I'm gonna deal with. I'm gonna deal with that. It's gonna bless y'all. Just trust me. Trust me. Watch it. So where we are. So listen. God. Okay. I'm trying to see where I want to go next. If I want to skip or give y'all all of this. Okay. So what I love about this is when they prayed. It says Israel made a vow to the Lord. They did not, remember in the past, watch this. They did not depend upon their own power in war. God had enabled them to take out the Amalekites and to defeat many other adversaries that came against them while they were out in the wilderness. But when this new foe appeared, when the Canaanites showed up, watch this. They didn't rely on their swords. It was something about them Canaanites. They were like, we better go to God with this one. It says they did not rely upon their own swords or their own strength or their spears or their bows. But they went okay, listen to these words. They went immediately to the Lord and pled their case. They were humble, they were earnest, and they prayed and they sought the help of God. So they was on the right track. They were on the right track. And God, because they were on the right track and their heart was right, God gave them just what he said. I'm going to deliver them into your hands. And I want you to kill everything. And that's it. They did exactly as God told them. But watch this. It says, so they were to utterly destroy everything. There were a few reasons for this, but one of the most important was that God did not want his people to profit. Listen to this. God didn't want them to profit or to gain or to be enriched by a war of judgment. God, you gonna get the, okay, here we go. You gonna get the victory, but God gonna get the glory. Watch this. Everything that happens, God already know about it. Nothing catches him off guard. So all of this is purposeful. Okay, watch this. You going to war with the Canaanites? Oh, it's purposeful. I gotta judge them. Do y'all hear this? God said, I don't need y'all to take nothing because this is not a war where I need y'all to come back with anything from the Canaanites. I want to wipe them out. He said, I'm judging them. I'm just gonna use y'all to do. I'm just gonna use y'all to do it. So you can't take none of the spoils. Watch this. It says, God did not want his people to profit, to gain, or to be enriched by this war of judgment. It was all to be destroyed or dedicated to God alone by making no use of it for anyone else. Watch this. It says, so they called that place Hormah, Hormah, that Israel was defeated in their ill-advised attempt to enter the promised land by force after refusing to enter it by faith. Oh God, watch this. God brought them back. Remember, this place where they at now, they had to go back to watch. It says, God brought them back to the same place where he had once given them victory. God can use your biggest defeat to turn around and give you victory in it. Woo, do y'all hear him tonight? He said, I'm bringing you back to a place of judgment. I'm going to judge them, but I'm going to deal with y'all right here too. I'm killing two birds with one stone. Don't play with me. Watch this. Watch this. It says, oh God, this is so good. The victory over the Canaanites provided this new generation. Because remember, they started out long ago. Watch this. This is a new generation. A foretaste of what was to come. God is always showing them, if I did this, I can do greater. If I did this, and remember, it was always they were supposed to look back at their history and never doubt their God. But they were constantly not looking back at their history. They were constantly not looking at God's track record with them. They were only looking at what was right in front of their face. We gonna die out here. Listen to what they said when they started complaining against Moses and God. You brought us out here in this wilderness to die. So you're telling God and you're telling Moses, you took me out of bondage and gave me freedom. Now you're going to kill me. Do that even sound like God? You've watched him perform all these miracles. And now you assume because you're not getting your way, because he's not coming as fast as you want, because it don't look like you. Okay, who am I talking to? Because it don't look like you think it should look. Well, it was for nothing. Okay. Watch your mouth. Watch, let me keep going. Let me keep going. It says, oh God, the victor over the Canaanites. Okay, I say that. Verses 4 through 5. It says, Israel was provoked by the difficult journey, and because they did not like the way it looked, they did not like the heat that they was in. They did not like. Remember now, I just gave you what you asked for. You asked me to deliver the Canaanites who was about to kill y'all into your hands. I did that. And now because I say now I need y'all to go back around the other way. You don't like the way I'm well, what? Okay. You don't like the way I'm telling you to go? So you're going to put your mouth against me? You don't like because I told you to go around Edom? You didn't want to go there? Okay. They were provoked. They got mad and they put their mouth against God. Listen. It says, then they journeyed from Mount Hor by the way of the Red Sea to go around Edom. Watch this. Let's go around Edom. And they became very discouraged. Watch what you say when you discouraged. Watch what you say when you upset. Watch what you say when you in your feelings. Because you will speak out of your emotions, and life and death, okay, here we go, is in the power of the tongue. They just said, you brought us out here to die. They spoke it on themselves. All right. You brought us out here to die. Okay. Watch what happened. It says, and the people spoke against God and against Moses. Why have you brought us up out of Egypt to die in this wilderness? There is no food, there is no water, and our soul and our souls loathe this worthless bread. We can't stand this food you feeding us. So you rather starve? Whoop. Listen, because we say the same thing. God, you got me out of that to get me over here, and I don't like this process you take. I don't like the process you taking me through. I don't like the way this is going. It ain't working out like I wanted to. So I need you. Be careful. Because if you don't like the process the way God gonna take you, so he snatch his hand back and say, okay, well, you're gonna do it your way. Let me see how that's gonna work out for you. Okay, I'm gonna stay right here. I'm gonna stay right here. So now we got another problem. We already learned that they had a lack of faith, they were fearful, and now they didn't want God's presence. Now number 4, we got they ungrateful. Ungrateful. Watch what it says. It says to go around the land of Edom. They had to go far out of their way because of the Edomites. Watch this. The reason why they had to go far out of their way, because the Edomites refused them passage. To go around the Edomites meant that they had to turn back towards the wilderness and away from Canaan and go all the way back around again. Watch this. No wonder they were tired, that they were discouraged. That's natural. But you ain't have to speak it out your mouth. It's natural that when people go through, they get tired. It's natural when you in warfare that you get tired. At the same time, you better watch what you say. You better watch what you say. My team will tell if any of them call me and they go through, they start saying something negative, I flip it. And they say, okay. I say, yeah, watch your words. Watch your words. Watch your words. Life and death is in the tongue. Watch this. It says. And my whole thing when I was studying this, I said, why they didn't just go back to God and pray again? They just automatically, they just start going off on God. Why didn't they go back and pray? Because prayer was not their default. Whoa, Jesus, I love you. Because prayer was not their default setting. They're so used to being moved by their emotions. So what they did when they didn't like something, they opened up their mouth against God and his manservant who, listen, watch it. It says, to go around Edom meant they had to go out of their way. They were backtracking. But if I know that God is with me, oh God, if I know that God is with me, he won't leave me, he won't forsake me. I know that God is my GPS system. Then I know that even when it seems like I'm going backwards, I'm really still moving forward. It's not. I'm trying to calm down, y'all. I'm really trying tonight. Okay, let me just, Lord. Because even when it looks crazy to man, he just said, I will take the foolish things to confound the very elect. He says, when it don't have to look like you think it should look. Just follow me. Watch this. It says, oh God, it seemed they were going backward instead of forward. But God, watch this. This was a discouraging situation, but it was also, watch this, another opportunity. Everything God do is for a reason. He's very strategic. Everything he do is for a reason. He said, okay, y'all asked me for something. I just delivered the Canaanites in your hand. So now y'all worshiping me, you love me. I'm about to see if I take you back the opposite way. Oh God, if I take you back the opposite way, do you really love me? Oh Jesus, watch this. If I snatch back something from you, do you still love me? Oh God, I love you today. So what did he do? He sent them back, which to them, it looked like they were going backwards, but they didn't know what God had in store for them. It says that was really another opportunity for them to trust God, and they missed it. Oh God, they missed their opportunity to trust him even the more. They missed their opportunity to tap in even deeper. Instead, what they did is they got in their flesh and they said, why do you have us out here? You should have just let us die. He said, okay, bet. I'm going to send some venomous snakes, and we're going to see how many of y'all make it out of that. Since, in fact, you don't like what I'm feeding you. You don't like the water that I'm giving you. So I'm going to see how you're going to do with these snakes that are poisonous. They are designed to kill, and I sent them. Don't play with God. Watch this. It says, this message right here, listen. It says, they spoke against God and they spoke against Moses. Okay, we dealt with that. This was a major problem with them. They, watch this. This was so major. Listen to this. Oh, God. This was so major because guess where they were and didn't even know it. Who did they just destroy? The Canaanites. I'm sending you to a land filled with milk and honey. That is Canaan. They were right on the threshold of the promised land and didn't even realize it. And listen. Oh God, I love you. This is so major. They were right there on the threshold. Think about how many times they done came that close and had to back up. But I knew, in my mind, I'd have been thinking, if God got me this close and I done took out, he done allowed me to take out every stumbling block that's in Canaan so I can step over and possess this land. And now if he bagged me up, it's for a reason. It's for a reason. If he get me this close to something and back it up, it's for a reason. Watch this. It says this was a major problem because they were on the threshold of Canaan, closer to it than they had ever been before. Oh, Jesus, watch this. Closer than they had ever been before. Closer than the previous generation. Listen. The previous generation of unbelief had been. And now they started to act just like their forefathers. Now, here they go. They don't believe God no more. Whew. That same spirit that kept their forefathers from seeing it is now on them. Woo, God, watch this. So now you're closer than your forefathers ever been. You right on the threshold. God has given you the Canaanites in your hand. And then he said, well, you know, wait a minute. The Edomites, I need you to back up and go around them. If you know that this is the same God that parted the Red Sea. This is the same God that y'all have seen send food from the skies and feed y'all. And you don't believe that he know what he's doing now? Oh, God, listen. And then it says, the same curse that was on their forefathers is now on them, the spirit of unbelief. Now they don't believe God no more. Even though he just done all these miracles, y'all just seen him do all these things. Y'all just seen him give y'all the Canaanites, part Red Seas, send food, drop food from heaven. Y'all shoes ain't wore out and y'all been out here God knows how long. But you don't believe him no more. Where that come from? Generational. Because it ain't because of God's history with you. Woo, Jesus, I love you. It says, unbelief was another way they handled obstacles. So now we got unbelief. We got that. What was the other one that I said? Unbelief. And before this, we dealt with the fact that they didn't even want to be in God's presence. Then they had fear. Then they had fear. Lack of faith. Now we got unbelief. Do you see all this that's coming upon them? Watch this. It says, Then they say, our souls, we hate this bread that you've given us to eat. Huh? So y'all want to starve? So you want to starve? Because this is all that I'm giving you. I'm giving you bread, and I'm giving you quail, and I'm giving you water. And I'm making sure your shoes don't wear out. But you saying, listen, the word says our soul loathes this worthless bread. Do you hear these words? What they saying, what God himself is giving them, is worthless to us. Ungrateful. It's worthless to us. We can't stand it. Okay, watch this. It says, this is why it angered God this bad. Watch this. It says, our souls loathe this worthless bread. Like the generations of their fathers, this generation despise God's provision. We don't like what you've given us. Can you give us something else? Just like their forefathers. Watch this. Remember their forefathers, listen, they're complaining against the bread of heaven. That's in Psalm 78, 23 through 24. Was the sin of ingratitude. Listen to this. It was the sin of ingratitude against the God who miraculously sustained them in the wilderness. I've kept you through all this. And then you got a nerve to tell me, I hate this food you feed me. Oh, okay. Okay. Watch this. It says, so the Lord sends, verse 6. So the Lord sends fiery serpents. Watch this. It says, the Lord sent fiery serpents. These came, he said, watch this. When I was studying one of my books, it said, make no mistake, it was sent by God. I wonder why I'm going through. What did you say? They reap what they sow. We don't send us back. They said, you got us out of bondage and brought us over here in freedom, and now we don't like it, and we don't like the food you feeding us, and we don't like the fact that our shoes are wet, and we don't like the water, and we don't like none of this. You should have let us die. Okay, well, I'm gonna send something to help you die. Woo, watch this. It says the Lord sent fiery serpents. Make no mistake, they came from God to get the nation's attention at this critical place in their journey to Canaan. He said, okay, you said you want to die? Woo, Lord. He said, you say you want to die? I'm going to send something going to help you. I'm going to send something going to help you. I'm going to get your attention. That you going to know, don't put your mouth on me. Don't speak against God. Watch this. Don't speak against, because he was mad. God was mad. It angered God because you spoke against not only me, but my servant who I sent to lead you. Watch this. It says, if they continued the unbelief of the previous, they would never take the land. So God said, I got to deal with this. I got to deal with this ungratefulness. I got to deal with your fear. I got to deal with your mouth. I'm going to show y'all that life and death is in the tongue. I got to deal with this before you go over into Canaan. Because you can't take that little spirit over there. Woo. Some of the stuff we reaping, some of the stuff we going through, some of the stuff we reaping is because we cannot go possess the land. What does that mean? I cannot step into 2024 and possess the land. That means take control of or receive everything that was promised to me by God, or everything that was left on the table by my ancestors. If my attitude ain't right, my spirit ain't right, I can't possess it. God told the children of Israel, I'm gonna deal with it right now, because you ain't taking that over there. Who could it be that some of us is the hold up? A lot of times we want to blame everybody, honey. It's because I was with her, or I was with him, or I was over there, and I was connected to that. Could it be that you the problem? You the problem? Whew. Listen, some of the things God is saying, I got to deal with it before 2024 get over it. Because ain't no point you getting over to the embassy suites at 10 o'clock and get to jumping and shouting and hooping and hollering and thinking you about to possess it. Because if you still got that mess, you're possessing nothing. Watch this. It says, whew. Okay, there was a connection between them despising manna, Numbers 21:5, and these serpents. Woo, let's watch this. There was a connection between you denying the bread that he feeding you and these snakes. He says a connection with that. Watch this. It says, they despise the bread from heaven. God gave it. He said, you despise the bread from heaven that I'm giving you, so I'm going to send some snakes down to the earth. Oh, God. You despise what I'm sending from heaven, so I'm going to send you something from the earth. Because see, watch, when you put your mouth on God, you don't know how he going to respond. When he say vengeance is mine, the Lord has already shown many of us, when he start dealing with people, our little attitude, how I would deal with them is nothing compared to how God would deal with them. He says, okay, so you don't like what I'm sending you from heaven? I'm going to send you something from the earth. It's going to be them snakes. Watch this. It says, they despised the bread from heaven, so God gave them serpents from the earth. Watch this. They despised God's blessing, so he sent you poison. Oh, God, I love you. He said, you despise how I'm blessing you, so I'm going to send you some poison. The opposite. Watch this. You despise the life that God sustains. So you're despising the life that I've sustained for you, so I'm going to give you a death. Don't play with him. Don't play with him. He said, you're ungrateful for what I've done. So I'm going to give you the counterpart. It's always a good and a bad, a right and a wrong. Watch this. He said, so I'm going to give you, watch this. Listen, you don't like bread from heaven? So I'm going to give you snakes from the earth. Watch this. You don't like my blessings? So I'm going to give you poison. You don't like the life that I gave you? Well, I'm going to send death. He's a meek and humble lamb. He's so gentle and kind. Okay, and he's a killer. He's a killer. That's what I tell people. I said, y'all be just want to talk about all this little sweet. I said, y'all better read the Old Testament. I said, the New Testament came to fulfill the Old. I said, y'all be thinking Jesus, he was just so kind and loving, and he was just laying hands on everybody, and he was flipping tables, and he was going off on folk, and he was straightening folk, and he was doing all that. We want to skip that part. They put their mouth against, they put their mouth on Moses. They put their mouth against God. He said, okay, I got you. You don't like how you don't like the way I'm processing you? Okay, this is why you got to be careful. I'm tired of going through. And I keep seeing all these little memes. I was checking. I was on the phone calling heaven, asking God, am I on your list of tough warriors for 2024? Because I don't want to be on that list no more. Okay, so you don't like how he processing you. Because that's what you're really saying. I'm tired of going through. I'm tired. Okay, so you don't like okay. Watch what you say out your mouth. Because your antidote to, okay, Holy Spirit. The antidote to I'm tired of going through is, okay, well, let me just go ahead and take you out. Woo, watch this. I'm tired of being the one that always got to be the example. Okay, well, I'm going to stop using you, and I'm going to put that a triple anointing on somebody else. Y'all better listen. Let me stay right here. Let me stay right here. Watch this. So let's talk about this snake he put on the pole. Watch this. Let's talk about this snake. He says, so then the Lord told Moses after they whined, they complained, and then Moses went to the Lord and prayed for them again. And the Lord said, okay, I want you to take a serpent and put it up on a pole. And whenever the people look at it, they shall live. Do you know that some of them people like, I ain't looking at no snake on no pole? So they died. Oh, Lord. At this point, it would just seem to me, whatever God said, I'm just going to do it. I mean, he just unleashed some snakes on us, y'all. Come on now. Some of them were still saying, I'm going to go ahead, and I ain't going to look at no snake on no pole, because you do know about Adam and Eve, and it was a snake. Okay, but God got a reason for everything he's doing. Listen to this. It says, so if you look at this snake, you shall live. Let me get down to, because I want to deal with this, because I don't want to get over my time, but I got to deal with this snake on the pole. Listen, okay, here we go. It says, make a fiery serpent and set it on a pole, and it shall be that when anyone who is bitten, when they look at it, they shall live. God commanded Moses to do this. Listen, and Moses made a bronze serpent to set it on a pole, so that those who looked upon it could be saved, and they were. He didn't say look on it. God said all of them do is look at it. They ain't got to open their mouth. They ain't got to say nothing. Just look at it. And they'll be healed. They'll live. Even if a snake bite them. Just look at the pole. This is so significant. Watch this. Even among miracles, this was unusual. Watch this. There was no immediate logical connection between just looking at the serpent on the pole and living, or refusing to look at it and dying. But God commanded that such an unusual thing, even this foolish thing, would be used to save them. Oh, God. I'm going to say that one more time. It says, this was so unusual Because never before had God said, if you look at something, you're just going to be saved. Never before until now. He says, either you can look at it and live, or you cannot look at it after the snake bites you and you can die. It's your choice. Why did he do that? This was the only way he was going to bring, that some of them were even going to live, because those snakes was going to kill everybody. He's still giving them a way out. Watch this. It says, listen, if the serpent had bitten anyone, they could look at the snake, they could look at the bronze serpent on the pole, and they could live. The people were not saved by doing anything, but all they had to do was look. Watch this. Look at it and live. Watch this. God, this is so good to me. All they had to do was simply look at it and live. They had to, listen to this. They had to trust that something that seemed so foolish as looking at a serpent on a pole was enough to save them. It is likely, watch this, something so foolish. He said, but I need them to trust that what I said, if they look at it, they're going to live. So it was another test. And some of them literally failed the test. I ain't looking at no snake on no pole. Huh? Watch this. It says, oh God. It is likely that some in Israel, they perished because they thought it was too simple. That's too foolish to simply look at something and live. That's not going to work. Huh? Ooh. Do you know sometimes we can be expecting God to give us 15 steps to do something, and he can just say, no, just don't. When you get on the highway, I just need you to go stop here first. I ain't going there over there first because I gotta hurry up and get to work. I ain't stopping over there first. I ain't gonna. And you go on to work, and then you find out later that where he told you to go, they were saying, I was looking for somebody to bless today, and this person might happen to stop by, and it was the same time God told you. That's what we do, because it'll sound so simple. It can't be God. We think everything God say, it got to be so difficult in 15 steps. Sometimes it could be, just call her. See how she doing. And then that person said, you know what? I was sitting here today trying to figure something out. And I was trying to see who I was going to bless. And you just, oh my God, this is all God. Because I was in prayer and I said, the first person that called me today, I'm going to bless them financially. And you're the first person to call me. Ooh. But what you said was, I ain't calling her. She need to call me. She need to check on me sometime. All right. All right. Simple things. But sometimes we want 15, 20 steps. Okay. So some people died because they wouldn't do what was so simple. Look at a pole. Oh God. Listen to this. It says, oh God. I need to get down because it's more about this pole, and I think I am skipping it. Let me see. Oh, here it is. So this pole, oh God, I thought I had deleted it. So it says this pole that Moses made. That's what I want to talk about. It says the serpent is often used in the Bible to represent evil. We know that, right? The snakes is often used to represent evil. That's in Genesis 3 and Revelation 12. However, listen, I just love this stuff. However, in the Bible, a bronze serpent speaks of evil, but evil having been judged. Whoop. Whenever it talks about something being bronze, that's the judgment of God. So a bronze snake is evil that God has judged and dealt with. Okay, let me calm down. The reason why Moses put the snake up on the pole and he made the snake bronze is to let the people know that this is the place that God dealt with your evil and he judged you. This snake is a representation of the judgment that you receive when you put your mouth against God. He said, don't play with me. Every time you look at this, it's going to be a reminder of what you said, of what you did, and what I did, and what I said. Oh, God, I love you today. The snake on the pole, that's bronze. It represents God's judgment of evil. Don't play with me. Woo, God. So we know later on in the Bible they start making idols of the snake on the pole and all this stuff. But this is the same pole that, remember, Moses could throw down and it could do certain things too. This is the same. Okay. This is the same pole. Remember when he kept going to Pharaoh and he threw that pole down and it turned to a snake? Same pole. Oh God, I love you. But this time God said, I need you to make a snake. Make it with bronze. Because bronze is my judgment. And put it up on that same pole. Every time they look at it, they gonna know this is how I deal with this is how I deal with your evil. I'm gonna judge it every time. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. Oh God, I did this is so good to me. Watch this. It says, because I'm almost done. It says, when the new generation, no, okay. So the thing with the snake on the pole had to do with them trusting what God said. He said, when you look at the snake on the pole, you ain't got to pray. You ain't got to say, I just need you to just look at it. And by you looking at it, that's saying that you believe what I said. That if you look at it, you will be healed. It was literally people that refused to look at it, so they died. Simple thing. Watch this. It says, when the new generation of Israel complained and doubted earlier in this chapter, they were not looking to the Lord. Watch this. They looked to themselves, to their difficult circumstances, and to the challenges ahead. But they did not look to God. Hear God said. Oh, God, I love you. Hear God say, oh, you're going to look at me now? I'm going to put it up on a pole. I'm going to put it up on a pole, and I'm going to remind you that you have no choice but to look now. Watch this. It says, oh, God. Here God put them in a situation where they got to look at him. He said, put this bronze snake up on this pole, and every time you look at it, it's going to be a reminder how I deal with you. Don't play with me. Woo. He said, every time you look at this snake on this pole, it's going to remind you. You better watch what you say when it comes to me. He said, every time you look at this snake on this pole, it's going to remind you of who really feeding you, who clothing you. Woo. He said, every time you look at this snake on this pole, it's going to remind you of who my servant Moses is. You don't put your mouth on him either. Watch this. It says, listen. If God had, because this is so simple. Listen. It says, God put them in a situation where they had to look to him. It says, because when we think about who God is, what he does, how he do, he's sovereign, he do what he want to do. He can just snap his finger, it is, you know, all that. Watch this. But it said, if God had willed it, the healing effect of the serpent might have come through contact. He said, I could have said you need to touch it. I could have said you need to bow down before it. He said, but I ain't say none of that. He said, all I wanted you to do was look and live. Oh, Jesus. Look, and can somebody drop that in the chat? Look and live. Look and live. He said, all I want y'all to do is look and live. Oh, God. What do we learn about these children of Israel? The way they handle obstacles. He said, but if you look to me, you're going to live. Who is that for tonight? You looking at the circumstances around you. You looking at the obstacles around you. He said, but if you look at me, baby, you're going to live. He said, if you look at me, you're going to live. Take your eyes off what it looked like. He says, look to me and live. Look to me and live. Watch this. It says, and I'm almost done. It says, they had to journey around Edom. And it was one more delay in achieving their goal of possessing the promised land. As a result, we see they became impatient, and their impatience led to depression and their general discouragement in hearts. And all of this led to them putting their mouth on God. Whoo, Jesus. Whoo, Jesus. Listen. You got to be careful. When you're on your way to your promised land, when you know when you know that God has given you things, God has promised you things, you know, listen, when you know that there are some things, like even sometimes when I be sitting and I think about stuff that my dad would say, I said, oh, he never got that, okay. Or I think about stuff my grandmother said, and I said, they never lived to see that, they never got that, okay. So I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. That belongs to me. That's my inheritance. But I am not crazy enough to believe that I'm just going to slide over into it. I ain't going to have no more troubles in this world. I'm just going to wake up tomorrow and I'm going to be earning 6 figures. I just know that every obstacle, watch this, that every obstacle that comes in the way of me possessing the promises of me getting what God promised me, there will be obstacles in the way, but every one of them obstacles is going to make me stronger. Every one of them obstacles, God has to deal with it before I get over into what he promised me, until I get over into possessing everything that was promised to my grandmothers, my daddy, my grandfather, and before I can possess all that, he got to deal with some stuff. Think about the story tonight. Children of Israel. They were right in Canaan. They were right there. They had took out the Canaanites. God gave them to them. And then because God said, wait a minute, you're going to have to go, but you have to bag up and go. I don't need you to go through Edom. I need you to go back up and go around Edom. And they got mad. But if you know God like you know God, you know it got to be a purpose in him having you to back up. Whew. Watch this. Everything God does is strategic. Everything God does is strategic. Even when I think about my life, certain things that happen that I thought, oh God, it's going to kill me. It's going to kill me. I ain't going to make it out. I ain't going to be able to do this. I ain't going to do that. And I'm like, God, why? Why are you allowing this? Why are you allowing this? And you can question God. You can ask him. You just got to make sure that you asking him in the right posture. That you ain't asking him like, well, I don't know what you got me doing this for, and putting your mouth on him. It's a difference. Because I always want to know, God, if I'm going through this, if it is your will, can you explain to me why? Or God, if I'm going through this, let me know it's you and not something that I caused. Watch this. Because when my marriage ended, I was like, wait a minute. No, I was sharing this with somebody earlier when I was doing some mentoring. And I was telling them, I said, because I was so hurt and I didn't understand because I did it God's way. I was the walking billboard of Proverbs 31. I was her. So when it ended, I couldn't understand. I couldn't understand. God, I did it your way. Like, what is going on? And God had to start showing me. And I had to literally start praying. Okay, God, I don't understand it. I know it's okay that I don't understand it. God, I'm broken. God, I'm hurt. God, I'm going through. God, but you got to help me. I said, if this is not your will, then download your will in me. Oh God, I don't know who this is for tonight. Download your will in me so I don't mess up this process. And I realized when I look back now, oh God, when I look back now, I would have never been able to take care of my daddy before he left here. I would have never, the ministry wouldn't be where it was. I would have never had that time to sit and regroup and reimagine. It's so many things I would have never done. Whew. And I had to pray, God, download your will so that I don't start praying what this flesh wants. God, download your will so I don't get angry. Download your will so I don't want to get revenge. God, download your will so I can stay on the right path. So I can stay in the process and not get up. Because you're the potter, I'm the clay. I don't want to get off this wheel too fast, God. Whew. Listen. I'm out of time, but I am not out of word. I'm going to get off here because I can just keep going. Listen. But what I want you to realize on tonight, be careful what you say. Watch this, because you know what the children of Israel, it says, I just read this. It said that when they started going around Edom, it was a delay in them achieving their goal of possessing the promised land, right? So, but we got to understand that if I get so close to something and God pull it back, it's a reason. Watch this. Do you know if they would have went through the Edomites, watch this, the Edomites could have destroyed them. Even though it was a quicker way. Even though it was a quicker way for them to go, God was telling them, you're not going that way. I need y'all to go around them. I'll deal with the Edomites later. Woo, God. He says, I will deal with the Edomites later, but I need y'all to go around them. That's something we're going to deal with later. Go around. Who is this for tonight? Go around. I know it may seem like you're going backwards. You're not going backwards. I know it may seem like you're going backwards. I don't know who this is for. I know it may seem like you're going backwards, but you're not going backwards because it's all a part of God's plan. He knows exactly what he's doing. Back up. Go around. Don't go through that. Don't go through enemy territory. Don't go through enemy territory prematurely. Whew. Don't deal with you're not equipped to deal with the enemy right now. Let me make you a little bit stronger. You're not equipped right now. They'll take you out. I need you to go around. I need you to go around. I know it's a long way. I know it feel like you're starting over. Baby, sometimes you got to lose to win. And when it look like you, oh God, when it look like you losing, you ain't never losing. Not when you looking at God. Not when you letting God. It may look like I'm losing to you. I can remember when I went through my divorce and separation. People are like, oh, she done left that big old house and she in the apartment, and they was just laughing. I know. They were laughing. She's such a prophet of God. She didn't see that coming. Look at that man. They been married 20-something years, and now you talking about you living in an apartment, huh? Listen, when it looked like I was losing, oh God, I was really winning. Because since then, I done built 2 houses from the ground up. Those same people that was laughing, you in the same position you were when I got divorced all those years ago. But look at what God has done. Your testimony gonna be, I keep telling, just stay in his presence. Stay in his presence. Stay in his face. Your testimony gonna be, look at what the Lord has done. Look at what the Lord has done. Look, I am out of time, but definitely not out of word. I'm dropping it because they text me now. If you want to sow into this word, if this word has blessed you in any kind of way, and you want to sow, the information is on the bottom of the screen. I pray that this word blessed you on tonight. Listen, tomorrow I will be back on here. Tomorrow is Saturday. I'll be on here tomorrow at 7 p.m. Seeing what God want to say next about possessing your possession. And I keep telling y'all, do not miss Sunday night. Do not miss Sunday night. You got to be in the place with us. We're going higher in the Lord. He has given me 3 prophetic words for 2024, and it's just gonna bless you. It's just gonna bless you. He has given me 3 words for 2024 that is gonna catapult you. It's gonna get you ready. It's gonna show you what's coming, and it's gonna show you what to stand up against. Because when God released this word on Sunday night, listen, it is gonna be a word that's gonna arm you for all of 2024. You won't be, because I'll share some of this with y'all. Because in 2024, it says, what God has given me, he said, even the very elect going down. He said it's gonna take them out. This word right here, what he gave me, he woke me up out of my sleep, gave it to me twice. So you got to be there on Sunday night when God released this word. Sunday night, Sunday night, 10 p.m. Embassy Suites, Concord, North Carolina. The information is all over my page. And thank you all for sharing. I keep seeing it everywhere. I'm like, oh, wow. I'm like, oh, that's mine. I'm like, okay. But I thank you all for sharing that and helping me get the word out. Thank you all for just bearing with me tonight while I scream and holler about the Lord. Listen, I pray that tonight that your sleep be so sweet and that God download his will into you and you accept his will. Listen, I love you. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. If you want to sow, the information is there on the bottom of the screen. I will see you back here again tomorrow night at 7 p.m. I love you and God bless you.